A flick of a wrist, a twitch of a nose, and suddenly, the mundane becomes magnificent, the ordinary extraordinary. In a quintessential suburban American living room, where the strictures of 1960s conformity often felt suffocating, a quiet revolution was brewing, powered not by protest signs, but by magic. Bewitched, which debuted in 1964, wasn't merely a sitcom about a witch marrying a mortal. It was a shimmering, whimsical allegory for identity, independence, and the perennial struggle between embracing one's true self and conforming to societal expectations. It danced with effortless grace between fantastical whimsy and deeply relatable domestic squabbles, inviting millions to wonder, what if true magic lay not in the spells themselves, but in the courage to be different, and the unwavering love that accepts it? This groundbreaking series wove a spell of enchantment over audiences, not just with its innovative special effects, but with its dazzling performances and surprisingly prescient social commentary, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of television comedy. At its very core, Bewitched built its comedic and thematic foundation on a brilliant, inherently dramatic premise: magic meets mundanity. Samantha Stephens, a powerful witch from a long lineage of supernatural beings, falls deeply in love with and marries Darrin Stephens, a mortal advertising executive. The central conflict, which fueled 8 seasons of delightful chaos, was Darrin's unwavering desire for Samantha to live a normal life, free of witchcraft. While Samantha wrestled with her innate magical impulses and the constant interference from her flamboyant, magic-wielding family. This premise was a fertile ground for humor, allowing the show to explore the clash of two wildly different worlds within the intimate confines of a suburban home. Magic wasn't just a plot device, it was a metaphor for extraordinary talent, for rebellion against the ordinary, for the inexplicable qualities that make individuals unique, and for the constant push and pull of compromise in a relationship. The comedic tension arose from Darrin's escalating exasperation at supernatural mishaps and Samantha's endearing attempts to do things the mortal way, often resulting in more chaos than a simple nose twitch would have created. At the radiant center of this magical tempest stood Elizabeth Montgomery, a performer of such luminous charm and effortless grace that she made the impossible seem utterly natural. As Samantha Stephens, she embodied a fascinating paradox, a powerful witch who chose to forego her supernatural heritage for the simple, often frustrating, joys of mortal domesticity. Montgomery's portrayal was a masterclass in comedic timing, her expressive eyes and a single, iconic nose twitch conveying more emotion and magical prowess than any elaborate special effect. She radiated warmth, wit, and an almost ethereal beauty, yet beneath the surface, there was always a hint of extraordinary power, a simmering impatience with mortal foibles, and a deep, empathetic understanding of human frailties. Her duality was further enhanced by her occasional, scene-stealing portrayal of Samantha's mischievous, uninhibited cousin, Serena. As Serena, Montgomery unleashed a wild, unbridled energy, speaking in slang, challenging conventions, and embracing pure hedonism, a stark contrast to Samantha's composed elegance, showcasing Montgomery's breathtaking versatility and range. This dual performance was a unique comedic asset, adding another layer of playful chaos and character exploration. No discussion of Bewitched's iconic performances is complete without acknowledging the legendary Agnes Moorehead as Endora, Samantha's glamorous, disdainful, and endlessly entertaining mother. Moorehead's theatricality, sharp wit, and withering disdain for mortals, especially Darrin, whom she famously refused to call by his name, opting for epithets like Durwood, dum-dum, or what's his name, made her a scene-stealing force of nature. Her booming voice, flamboyant costumes, and dramatic entrances and exits, often accompanied by a puff of smoke, were pure comedic gold. Endora was the embodiment of magical freedom and disdain for mortal limitations, and her constant attempts to lure Samantha back to her supernatural roots, or simply torment Darrin, provided endless comedic fuel. Moorehead's iconic delivery and formidable presence ensured that every one of Endora's appearances was a memorable event, solidifying her status as one of television's most beloved and formidable mothers-in-law. The chemistry between Montgomery and Moorhead was electric, a perfect blend of mother-daughter love, exasperation, and magical hijinks. Their verbal sparring was sharp, their expressions priceless, and their underlying bond of affection always shone through the magical mayhem. Similarly, the marital dynamic between Samantha and Darrin, first portrayed by Dick York and later by Dick Sargent, was a delicate balancing act of love versus conformity, understanding versus frustration. Both York and Sargent took on the challenging role of the straight man to magic, reacting to the supernatural with escalating levels of disbelief, panic, and exasperation. York, in particular, was lauded for his physical comedy and expressive facial reactions, perfectly conveying Darrin's escalating neuroses. While the recasting was a significant change, both actors managed to convey Darrin's genuine love for Samantha, which ultimately grounded the fantastical elements in a relatable human relationship. The show's world was further populated by a delightful supporting cast, both human and magical, each contributing to its unique comedic rhythm and world building. Maurice Evans brought aristocratic flair to Samantha's equally flamboyant warlock father, Maurice, whose Shakespearean pronouncements often left Darrin utterly bewildered. Paul Lynde stole every scene as the chaotic, prank-loving, and often utterly clueless Uncle Arthur, whose spells always went spectacularly wrong. Marion Lorne was utterly charming as the sweet, bumbling Aunt Clara, whose spells were equally inept but always endearing, often conjuring historical figures or unwanted objects. And on the mortal side, the nosy neighbor, Gladys Kravitz, played by two equally memorable actresses, Alice Pierce and Sandra Gould, relentlessly spied on the Stephens oddities, representing the absurdities of suburban curiosity. Darrin's demanding boss, Larry Tate David White, and his long-suffering wife, Louise Casey Rogers, further anchored the show in the mundane, providing ample opportunities for magical mishaps to complicate mortal careers and social events. Each character was a perfectly crafted comedic cog in the whimsical machine that was Bewitched. Thinking about how seamlessly each character, from the main cast to the smallest magical relative, contributed to the show's unique comedic rhythm and world building, truly highlights its genius. If you're enchanted by shows where every performer, magical or mortal, adds a unique spark to the overall narrative, then you're truly under a spell. Cast a spell on that subscribe button and join our coven of classic TV enthusiasts, ready to unlock more secrets of television's most captivating ensembles. A significant part of Bewitched's allure lay in its groundbreaking special effects and visual gags, particularly for a sitcom of its era. Before the advent of sophisticated CGI, the show's creators masterfully employed practical effects, clever camera tricks, and stop-motion animation to bring Samantha's magic to life. The iconic nose twitch, which produced instant transformations, disappearances, and conjurations, became synonymous with the show and remains one of television's most enduring visual cues. Objects levitated, people vanished, furniture rearranged itself, and entire rooms changed with seamless, magical fluidity. These effects were not mere flashy distractions. They were seamlessly integrated into the comedy, serving the narrative and often becoming the very source of the humor, from a magically appearing elephant in Darrin's office to a spontaneous trip through time. The visual magic of Bewitched was innovative and captivating, making the impossible seem playfully real and enhancing the show's whimsical charm without ever overshadowing its character-driven comedy. Yet, beneath the glittering surface of magical mishaps and comedic misunderstandings, Bewitched offered a surprisingly sharp, often subtle, commentary on the social anxieties and changing dynamics of 1960s America. Samantha's choice to live as a mortal woman, to conform to the suburban ideal, could be seen as a powerful, albeit whimsical, allegory for the societal pressures faced by women of her era, the expectation to trade personal power and identity for domesticity and a normal family life. But the show consistently highlighted the absurdity of Darrin's insistence on normalcy and the constant, often hilarious, battles Samantha fought against her mother, Endora, who embodied an unapologetic, fierce independence and a disdain for mortal men's primitive ways and patriarchal norms. Endora's biting critiques of Darrin's advertising career and his narrow view of the world subtly challenged the materialistic and conventional values of the time. The show explored themes of acceptance of otherness and the importance of embracing one's true identity, even when it didn't fit neatly into societal boxes. It championed the idea that true love meant accepting someone for who they truly are, warts and wiggles and witchcraft and all, message that resonated deeply in a decade defined by social upheaval and changing personal freedoms. Bewitched wasn't just a popular show, it was a cultural phenomenon that left an indelible mark on television history. Its immense popularity ensured a long run of 8 seasons, cementing its place as a cornerstone of 1960s and early 1970s pop culture. Its influence on subsequent fantasy sitcoms, from I Dream of Jeannie to later magical domestic comedies, is undeniable, as it proved the viability and broad appeal of blending supernatural elements with relatable human situations. The iconic nose twitch entered the popular lexicon, recognized globally as a shorthand for magic. The show is celebrated for its groundbreaking female lead and strong female characters who, despite their magical abilities, often represented progressive ideas of female agency and independence for their time. Its enduring appeal in syndication ensures that new generations continue to discover its charm, wit, and surprisingly relevant social commentary, solidifying its status as a timeless classic. It proved that magic, when coupled with heart and humor, could create television that was both enchanting and profoundly insightful. As we conclude our enchanting journey through the world of the Stephens family, it's clear that Bewitched was far more than just a magical sitcom. It was a brilliant, often subversive, commentary on identity and conformity, wrapped in a shimmering cloak of whimsy and powered by truly dazzling performances. Its legacy lies not just in its pioneering special effects or its enduring humor, but in its charming exploration of what it means to be different, to love unconditionally, and to find the magic in the everyday. If you've been captivated by this deep dive into the enchanting world of Bewitched and its unique place in television history, remember that the archives of classic TV hold countless other magical stories waiting to be unveiled. We love exploring these iconic series that shape TV and continue to charm audiences. Don't let your curiosity disappear. Cast a spell on that subscribe button to join our growing coven of classic TV enthusiasts, ready to discover more timeless wonders. Now, mortals and magical beings alike, I invite you to share your thoughts. What are your most cherished magical memories from Bewitched? Who was your favorite character beyond Samantha and Endora? What do you believe is the show's most lasting message or contribution to television? Share your bewitching insights, favorite spells, and personal reflections in the comments section below. Let's discuss why this classic still casts a spell over our hearts.